Hi everyone. When it comes to raising our kids, setting boundaries is really hard. Setting limits, saying no is really, really hard sometimes, but we know it's really, really important. And this week's Parasha, Achremot, focuses almost entirely on a place that was protected by lots of limits, lots of boundaries. The Parasha talks about the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and the elaborate rituals that went along with the high priest entering into the Holy of Holies, the most special place in the temple or in the sanctuary, in the Mishkan. The most holy place was also the place that the priest basically never went except for one day in the year, just on Yom Kippur. The priest would go into the Holy of Holies for a very special service and connection with God. And it's a reminder that actually sometimes what makes something special to us is what we're not allowed to do or when we're not allowed to go there. This parasha reminds us that by setting boundaries or by setting limits, we create space for holiness. The Holy of Holies is the place we don't go except for when we do go. And so I wonder if we can apply this in our parenting to help us set the boundaries or set the limits that we know our children need, and to understand that setting limits actually elevates whatever it is that we're limiting. So for example, in our house, we don't have the sweet cereals, sugar cereals, every day of the week. We call them Shabbat cereal. They're off limits during the week, and only on Shabbat we pull out those chocolate cereals and fruity puffs and whatever. So it kind of makes it special because we've said no to it the rest of the week. Maybe there's a certain area in your house that you can designate for some special purpose. Maybe it's a reading nook or a quiet zone or some special toy that only comes out once a week. When you say no to something, you actually say yes to other things, and you say yes to when you can use that space and define it as special, as holy, as different. In Judaism, the word for holy, the word for Holy of Holies is kadosh, and kadosh means sacred. So this week, maybe think about what you can make sacred in your home, sacred in a positive way, what you can say no to at some times in order to say yes to it at other times and create maybe an allure or an excitement or something different. And then when you do say yes to something that you usually say no to, it actually makes the kids more excited. We sort of designate certain foods for breakfast and other foods for dinner. But you know that when you say, everyone, it's breakfast for dinner, we're serving waffles, there's now an excitement. And that only works because there were boundaries first for the idea that waffles are a morning food. And then when you give it to them at night, it's something fun or silly. So practice saying no, practice setting boundaries, and practice that with the idea that actually that creates sacred space, sacred times, and sacred moments for you in your home. Have a wonderful week.